focusing on. I can get really close to this thing. That's pretty cool. Howdy there. Today we are checking out a completely different point of view of the room. A little wide angle fill. I'm on the Fujifilm 10-24 ROIS. It's a lens that I absolutely love, similar to this one, because I love Fujifilm's XM5. Fujifilm sent me one of these a few weeks ago along with this 10-24, and I liked it so much that I went out and bought a couple while I was still reviewing this, because the footage looks great. The usability is nice because of portability, how small it is. I'm gonna talk to you today, not full review, but just tell you a few things about, ways that I can use this, kind of a little bit about what the footage looks like, but more importantly, I'm gonna show you some of the accessories and the rigs that I have been able to make for this and where I'm using this. First things first, let me just say 6.2K open gate, f-log 2, just hand in hand together make a beautiful, beautiful marriage. That's why I like this. It fits so well alongside my Zcam E2 f6, as well as just with anything. I mean, this is a workhorse. Open gate on a $799 camera at 6.2K is crazy. I know a lot of people cry about there's no IBIS, because God forbid a $799 camera doesn't have IBIS, but there's a few things that you can work around, ways you can work around that along with this lens. But let me talk to you now about how I'm making these builds, what they're for specifically. This is my XM5. Just took this with me on a trip through West Texas into New Mexico and whatnot, and it's gonna go with me a lot more places. And yeah, let's talk about how I'm building these out. First off is my everyday Fujifilm XM5 kit. This is how I travel. I just carry light. The microphones on the front of this actually aren't that bad at all, and so if I can avoid having to carry something like my MKE200, I go ahead and I do that. I have a nice thumb grip from Small Rig. Small Rig did not sponsor this video. They sent me nothing. I just own a lot of Small Rig gear, including lights. I have the Small Rig grip right here, which does a really good job, and this right here with the thumb grip and the actual regular grip just do a good job of making this very sound and whenever it comes to purchase. The microphones on the front of this are really, really good, so I don't have a shotgun mic or anything on top of it. Usually I'd be using my Sennheiser MKE200, but don't really use it much with this, because for scratch audio or just for ambient audio, these do more than well enough job. You can actually change the direction they're going. The strap is also from Small Rig because it fits in really well with these little guys right here. So it has little slots to fit them into, and this actually plays very well with that. So again, more Small Rig. And besides that, the biggest part of this kit has to be this 10-24 lens from Fujifilm. This is the ROIS, not the weather sealed version, because this isn't a weather sealed body, so why do I care? I just have a filter on the top, so I can, stop down. It's an f4, so I don't have to worry about anything. But the OIS in this is fantastic. I'm going to show some footage right now over the top, and you're going to see that, handheld with this optical image stabilization, not using the digital stabilizer, it creates a pretty good image. And again, f-log 2C is a star here, and it does a great job. So this is my regular run and gun rig. This works for me. If you're someone who has to get a lot of BTS, or you're just wanting to hang out with family, or you're wanting to just do short narrative films, or you just like getting images so you can color grade, I completely understand that. And let me tell you that this right here, this combination is A1. This is what I think a lot of people should go for. If you're going to pair a lens up with this body, this is the perfect lens. Don't be scared of the f4 aperture, because this has a base ISO and f-log 2 of 1250. You're going to be happy you have that f4 whenever you're shooting in daylight. So do not worry about it. Just trust me, you'll really, really like this. So just getting right to it, what I really love to do with the Fujifilm XM5 isn't to rig it out to be the biggest it can be. I like to rig it out so that it can be easier to use because of how small it is. Now, as a crash cam, as a B cam, this is a great camera. And it's a great camera in general, just for talking head and anything else. But one of the downsides of it is just the size, particularly the weight. And so a way that you can help out with weight, or with, jitters and whatnot, with the fact it doesn't have IBIS, is by giving it a little bit of weight. And that's what I like to do with this setup right here. The base, of course, is the Fujifilm XM5 with a Small Rig cage for the XM5. I think it's the vintage or the retro cage. I'm not sponsored by Small Rig, I just like their stuff. And we're gonna start with on the side. On the side right here, I have this handle, and that is fixed onto here because I have a nice little NATO rail that is actually attached to the side. And then I purchased this online. These are also Small Rig gear and whatnot. I purchased this little NATO rail extension right here. So this actually extends from NATO rail out a little bit forward and out, so I could hard mount this Small Rig handle that was originally an Airy pin locating handle. I removed that section, and then I hard mounted this little guy right here onto there. On the top fixed is this little small rig micro HDMI to HDMI adapter, and this plugs in directly to the side. And so this NATO rail kind of gets this out of the way to where I can actually put a handle there and it works good. I don't want it to be too wide, and I want it to be a little bit forward to help out with weight depending on the lenses I'm using. I have some EF lenses that I am able to adapt on this because of this Kip-on speed booster. It's 0.71 magnification, so I can have full frame field of view, just about a millimeter off full frame field of view. So this right here slides on and up and locks in place, and then I can now attach my HDMI cable from Condor Blue and my micro. Don't have to worry about anything pulling, cables getting caught. It's all set to go. Along on the right side, you're also going to see this from Condor Blue. I've got a V-mount battery hooked up to the back of this using the small rig, V-mount battery plate. It's a similar concept to what Caleb Pike has going with the Cineback. I kind of just wanted a power solution on the back, more so than to look cool, mostly to be able to give it some extra weight. And so this right here runs some battery power to the camera so that it's always trickle charging, and this right here, this adapter, will make sure that it doesn't fry my camera with any surges or just with too much power, as well as it powers my Portkeys 5-inch monitor. I think it's the PL5 or something like that, PT5. Yeah, PT5 Mark II, and so that is what powers it. I use a Viltrox 2000 nit monitor, the DC-X3, for my bigger cameras, but for this does the job, especially as just a B cam, just sitting and locked off, or as a crash cam. I mostly use in the back of the monitor. But yeah, that's basically the right side. Again, we talked about it. I have this 50-watt small rig V-mount battery that has all these extra ports. It's got D-tab, it's got 8-volt, 12-volt, it's got USB-C and USB-C-A. Charges over USB-C. I love it. And again, it has this sweet little guy right here that drops back and forth from this little V-mount adapter. And what I have on here, on the very, very back, you'll see right here, I don't know if you can, but there's a cheese plate right here. And this cheese plate has a screw that's put onto there. And this is not to hold anything in place. This is to push down this cheese plate on top that I have here. You see there's a little bit of flex. So when I put it correctly, it keeps it from flexing. And I don't have to worry about, whenever I'm picking it up, or if there's too much weight, especially on the front, this thing starting to bend and that cage getting messed up. So that's basically what that is there for. So as I'm adding this gear back onto the side, on top of that cheese plate that I referenced is a nice little locking hot shoe or cold shoe, from Small Rig. So it locks things in there. This is in case I have a wireless transmitter, like the Godox wireless transmitters or a DJI wireless transmitter. I could just slide this in here. And then what I have as well is another NATO rail and then a top handle. And this top handle is also from Small Rig, and it has a whole bunch of hot shoe mounts from the back to the side to the top and on the left and right here. And so right here I have the MKE200 from Sennheiser, and does a great job. But this is actually just sitting in place of my Deity D4, which I'm using to record audio right now. But a great little mic, but it plugs into the back over here, no problem. I've got this cable, from Sennheiser, so pretty nice, but kind of keeps my cables clean, being able to wrap everything around in distance, if that makes sense. And so that's the top cheese plate. Nothing special about it. It mounts directly to the cage. This isn't a crazy cool special thing. It just kind of gets the job done. And then on top, in the very front right here, I have a Small Rig ARRI locking pin, locating pin, whatever you want to call it, to 15mm rod adapter. And then I have this nice little, I think it's from Nicey Rig, and it is just a 20mm screw to 15mm rail adapter. And then I have on this Portkeys PT5 sitting on top here, and that's basically what's making up most of that rig over there. On this side, you'll see the screen folds back against that good old little battery, and so it kind of, I know everyone likes to have that, everyone wants to have that kind of a Cineback kind of style and feel, and this for the most part does the job. And so it just folds up against, if I ever use it like that. Usually I have this folded in. I just don't want to have an overheating issue, which I haven't ran into. But other than that, on the side there's nothing really except for this Small Rig mini follow focus, which is mounted to these 15mm rods, which are on a Small Rig base plate. And then down below I have a Small Rig. This is I don't know how to explain it without showing you, but it is an Arca Swiss plate that has little feet. And so whenever I'm running and gunning and moving around, this little Arca Swiss plate has some feet like this, and so it'll hit flat on the surface, doesn't get in the way of anything, and so I can, you know, record, press this up against my body, and then boom, drop it down whenever I need to go use the restroom or something, and we're all set. And so that right there is basically the heart of what it is. One of the things about all the lenses that I'm using on this rig, I use a lot of my adapted and vintage lenses because this is a B cam, because this is more of a just go out and have fun cam. I like to use vintage lenses. So I have a Contax Zeiss 28mm f2.8, which I usually, honestly, on that one shoot wide open all the time with some kind of neutral density filtration, specifically because I like the look that it gives, because it matches my Helios 44M that I have right here, towards that there's that kind of swirly bokeh when you're close to people. I think that looks very, very, you know, cool. I talked a little bit earlier about stabilization, things like that, and how I, you know, have this thing, you know, stable. You know, that's the way I'm able to get this to where it's you know, working correctly, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm babbling and talking in circles, but not only does weight help, you know, 3 points of contact being able to do like this, but there's another piece of kit that I recently got, and I kind of want to show you guys what it is, because to me it's a great investment. I use it all the time, you know, whenever it comes to actually cinema cameras and being in production. I used to use them back in the day more than I do now, but I'm gonna start using them again. But there's a little cheat code whenever you want to have a little rig like this, or any camera that doesn't have IBIS, that makes your images look natural whenever it comes to that little cinematic film jitter. And honestly, it just looks better than any kind of IBIS. There's no warp, nothing. Let me go and pull it out. So even though we have a lens right here that has no image stabilization, a long 58mm telephoto lens, you can actually get nice, sweet, and you know, kind of smooth shots. Let me go ahead and show you. So this right here is a camera saddle, and it's filled with like some kind of foam peanut technology and whatnot, but this is what a lot of people that are operating cameras on sets are going to use. I've used these before. I happily have this sack right here to be able to show you guys, but there's multiple brands that you'll see, but SAC actually makes one of these that are affordable, because honestly it's just really durable canvas. This is weather sealed, just like the 2 times 3 times the price Cine saddle. It's built really well. And whenever it comes to getting steady shots, if you're looking, it's a lot easier to be able to control if you're doing like this. So if you're someone who, I get it, you know, what if you're doing run and gun or just, you know, traveling? That's why these OIS lenses from Fujifilm work so well, and the 10-24 is something I recommend. But if you're looking at using this to start making small productions, to start making movies, to start making videos, to do these things, and $799 is your budget, even with the stripped down version of this rig, this right here honestly gets the job done. And especially if you're focusing and you have a follow focus, I mean, you can get basically still with this. It takes the weight off of your shoulders, especially if you have a camera strap on this, and it kind of distributes it pretty well. You can adjust it. This works great to be able to set down if you forgot your tripod, or if you're getting a low shot and you don't want your camera on the ground, you need to tilt it up or do anything. This right here with the sack can be formed however you want it to be formed, so that, you know, it can fit the way you want it to fit, and it fits snug just like that. I've used these, like I said, a lot in my day, and I'm glad to be using one again. This is something that you kind of just throw in the back of your car if you're doing a lot of stuff, and you just have it with you just in case. This is the ultimate, if you you know, I'd rather need it and not, or have it and not need it, than need it and not have it kind of tool. And a lot of you, once you get something like this, you will be completely shocked at how great these are. There's a link to these down below as well, and yeah, I think they were recently on sale. I hope that sale is still going, but all the gear in this, there's going to be a link down below to what I'm using. But this setup right here is absolutely just fantastic. It's lightweight, but it's heavy enough to where it feels like you have a really good purchase. You're not going to be blowing over, you're going to be clear of all the jitters, and then if you're needing to do something like dollying, this is going to be fantastic for you, especially if you're having to pull focus. And this is why these are so good. This right here is like, I'm gonna make a video about underrated camera gear that I think everyone should invest in, or that it wouldn't be a stupid investment. And there are things like this sack, a speed booster if you use a Super 35 sensor or an APS-C sensor, you know, NPF batteries. Like, there are things that people don't talk about, and they're not sexy, but they completely change everything going for you. So I'll include in the review of this, as well as whenever I actually want to dive deeper into you know, camera saddles, I'll dive deeper into things just like this. But man, you know, I'm just really big fan of stuff like this. Again, being able to dolly, like being able to track and follow, I mean, this right here is so easy whenever you have gear like this. I feel like I'm rambling, so I'm just nerding out. I thought I really want to show you guys this because I loved the footage from this camera. I just got done editing a few clips. I'm working on getting a little teaser video out for something for one of the groups that I work with, and I love this little camera. It's been so much fun, and honestly, just 10 out of 10 recommend, especially for the price. If you can get this thing, you know, after tax, you know, if you can get this thing with a few little pieces of gear, you can have a full-blown cinema kit. 6.2K open gate. I mean, there's not a lot of cameras doing that, especially for the price point. Overheating is not really an issue. I mean, it's just really, really good. I haven't run into any issues at all. Good codec, and yeah, outputs B-RAW and ProRes. And let me stop rambling. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Here's another look at everything right here. Links are going to be down in the description for all the gear. And take it light, but take it. Have a good one.